or have attended my courses, so you'll know my stories pretty well, and I actually get quite tired of repeating it over and over. But for the new people that have come today, I'll do it very, very briefly, so I will tell you my story and what brought me to learn this lifestyle that they teach in Hippocrates. Basically, my story began when I was 17 years of age, when I found a lump in my breast. But thankfully that turned out to be benign, but I wasn't quite so fortunate at the age of 33. A young mother of two children. My son Richard was 7, my daughter Sarah was 4, and I was pregnant with my third child. I was diagnosed at that stage with lymphatic cancer, and I did what I was told. I went home with hormones and drugs and tried to pick up the pieces of my life. But I think with sheer shock, I lost that baby. And in a way it was a blessing in disguise, because they told me that if I lost you, they told me that if I took the treatment, it would kill the fetus. If I didn't take the treatment, the cancer would grow exponentially. So I was caught between a rock and a hard place. And I, as I said, a blessing in disguise. I woke up one morning and lost the baby. But a nurse at that stage gave me a very bad piece of advice, and she said to me, don't read anything because it will only worry you. And in a way, I look back on that piece of advice now as bad information, because knowledge is power. But I was 33 years of age, 2 small children, and I just wanted to get on with my life. I wanted to get this cancer over, do what I was told, get the treatment, and get back on board. And in a way, that's exactly what I did. And I learned nothing about the disease. But 12 years later, the cancer returned in the breast. Now, slightly, I skipped a beautiful part of this story, which was, when you lose a baby, any woman will know that has lost a baby. It's an instinct sometimes that's stronger than sense. And for many, many years, I asked my oncologist, could I have another baby? And he said, no. You have more than most. You have a boy, you have a girl, go home and live your life. So I did that for about 7 years. And they tell you that you're cured after 5 years cancer-free. And so I thought I was making a calculated risk. I was coming up to the age of 40, and I went ahead and had this baby I was longing for. Let me tell you, it was no congratulations. My oncologist actually said to me, poor Bernadette, because he thought that this could well trigger the cancer again. But thankfully it was one piece of advice I did listen to. And Julie, she's with us at the back of the room now here today. She's 19 years of age, and she's the joy of our lives, so she is. I called her in the book my miracle baby, and that's what she was. I get emotional about talking about her. But 5 years after Julie was born, the cancer returned in the breast. And at this stage, I thought I wanted to teach myself. I wanted to know, why was this happening to me? And I began to read and absorb these things, and came across a leaflet, much like many of you have done, whether it's Facebook, whatever medium it is now that you find out. But I came across a leaflet in a health store and went along to his lecture, and I knew, a lot of what he said went over my head. I'd just come off chemotherapy, I'd come off radiation, but instinctively, intuitively, I knew it was the truth, and I knew it was common sense, because what he was teaching was really eating food as Mother Nature gave it to us and intended us to. She didn't intend us to worry and heat and zap the life out of that food. So I began to adopt the program gradually, bit by bit. I taught myself how to grow wheatgrass. The guys down here from the Happy Bear years and years ago. I taught these lads how to draw the grass, and now they have a wonderful business going, which is marvellous. And taught myself how to do this from a book. And it was 5 years before I ever went to Hippocrates, but every year that Dr. Bryan came back, I went back to learn more, and I see many of you do the same here with me. So what I found was that they speak about how food is medicine, and that's what I discovered. There's foods that can heal, and there's also a lot of foods that we eat nowadays that can kill us as well. And these are the foods we all know that line the shelves of our supermarkets. Processed foods that we've become accustomed to eating. And we think that this is the norm. And we think that people that eat healthy are health freaks, they're health nuts. How many of you in this room that do this know exactly what I'm talking about? So there are foods that can heal. And I'm going to show you now, just really wanted to show you the people that have done this through food and heal themselves. Foods that fight cancer. And this here is Chris Carr. She wrote the book Crazy Sexy Cancer, and she was diagnosed with a very rare, incurable stage 4 cancer. This is wonderful, uplifting news for every person in this audience that has come here today with cancer or a health challenge. She says her wake-up call encouraged her to make a total lifestyle upgrade inside and out. Even Oprah got excited about it. This here is Donald Factor, son of the beauty giant Max Factor. You've all heard of Max Factor. And he had stage 4 extensive cancer, was detected in his lungs, liver and spine in 1986. I was told I only had 6 months to live, but 28 years later I'm still alive and kicking. Isn't this incredible? You can watch his video on YouTube. I encourage you to do it. I have a defiant spirit, and they told me later, if that had not been for that enthusiasm, they would have sent me home immediately. Heather Mills, you all recognize Heather Mills. When she had her accident and they amputated her leg, the infection began to spread. So they wanted to go back in and cut another piece of the leg off, and that would have progressed. The antibiotics were not working, and a friend of hers told her about Hippocrates, and she signed herself out of the hospital and went to Hippocrates. And within 4 days of being there, the infection stopped spreading. So she was another person that benefited greatly from this lifestyle. This was Wilfred Salon. She went to Hippocrates. She had psoriasis, Lyme's disease, and systemic cancer throughout her body. And in 3 months, she had eradicated all of her conditions and banished all of the medication she was dependent on. So this is Wilfred here. You can see she had extensive psoriasis. She had in her leg also an ulcer, and this was her 3 months later. So these people just learned exactly what I learned. And here we have Dr. Lorraine Day. Many of you will be familiar with her. She had a huge tumor on her breast, and she rejected the standard therapies. Now, this is a medical doctor. She rejected the standard therapies because of the destructive side effects and chose instead to rebuild her immune system using natural, simple, inexpensive therapies designed by God and available to all of us. She's now cancer-free. Now, these people I wanted to talk to you about because these are my people here. Now, I call them my two Marys. They're from Cork, and I've been trying to get them to stand up and tell their story. But one lady doesn't want her son to know because he's Down syndrome, and she doesn't want him to know. He didn't know all along. And the other lady just is too shy to do it. But nonetheless, they have two fabulous stories. Mary I'll call her Mary 1, Mary 2. They kind of reminded me, I don't know if any of you that are old enough will remember the comics where the three Marys. I don't know if any of you old enough remember that. But I had two Marys in Cork. And I wish I had a picture to show you because they are wonderful, wonderful ladies. And Mary 1 was diagnosed in 2008 with breast cancer. She took no treatment because she had watched her sister die on chemotherapy. And she decided she was not going that road. And I only spoke to her last week, and she said to me, I'll die rather than do that. And so she took no treatment, and here she is 6 years later, alive, well, looking after her child that has Down syndrome, as I said to you, and wonderful, wonderful lady. If only you knew her, she's absolutely gorgeous. I said to her, can you imagine the amount of people you would have by standing up? And she said, I have to do it in a kind of quiet way. So, well, the other lady, Mary 2, she had bowel cancer, and she had the tumour removed, but she had no treatment, and here she is 2 years later. Annette Burns from Sligo. Annette doesn't mind, but I haven't got a picture of her. And I've been emailing her husband all week, but apparently he sent me a Facebook message to say that they're in Australia at the moment. And Annette was diagnosed with a tumour in her leg, and they thought they would amputate the leg, but when they went in, they got a clear margin around the tumour. And so they said, we don't need to take the leg off. But 6 months later, the cancer came back in 2008, and when they examined her, it had spread to the lungs. So they said there was no point in amputating the leg because, you know, she wouldn't have that long. They gave her basically a year to live, and here she is, 2014, and she's still alive and well. Her husband, Henry, as I say, emailed me from Australia. They're off there having a great holiday. So lovely. This is Michael. I put Michael's story up on Facebook the other evening, and it just exploded. He had a PET scan the other day, and it was completely clear. Diagnosed only in September, so it's very early days for Michael, so it is. And he knows this. But it had spread to his liver, it started in the bowels, broke through the wall of the bowel, and ended up in the liver as well. And he had completely came down and did the program with me down in Cork, and really got stuck in. I knew he was the kind of guy, when the very evening he left me, he sent me a picture of the salad he had made the evening he went home. So I knew he was determined to do it. And now his oncologist was dumbfounded with a completely clear PET scan. Can you imagine? And but she told him he was just one of the lucky ones. There's nothing lucky about this. This is get up every day, do your juicing, do your foods, and do everything you can to heal your body. So this here is Danny. A lot of you people would have heard about Danny. He's Danny MacDonald. He's in Donegal. And Danny's story is that he was diagnosed with bowel cancer, and he went along. One of his neighbours died on treatment, and he said, they said he had 3 months to live. They wanted to live aggressive chemotherapy straight away. And he's a very simple, plain man, plain-speaking man, lives on a farm up in Donegal. And he said, well, I won't be taking the treatment. He said, he didn't do so good with my neighbour, so I won't be doing it. And he went home, and a girl that I had thought her to grow wheatgrass because her daughter, Doreen, was sick, and Siobhan thought Danny had to grow. So this thing ripples out beyond you. It ripples out to other people, it ripples out just, you see the lovely babies we have here, and so many mothers emailing me with children having their wheatgrass and their juice before they go to crash. 2-year-olds. So 2-year-olds can do this stuff, you can do it too, as you can. And so a wonderful story. He's 8.5 years down the road now, and over 8,000 people have gone to Danny to learn what he has done. So So what these people found out was that our foods that can heal the body, foods that are rich in vitamins, antioxidants, enzymes, foods that are medicines. And the main thing that these foods do is build the immune system. And we all hear about the immune system, but do we really know what the immune system does? Do we know how powerful it is? Do we know that inside us we have the ability to heal cancer? Do you know how many of us actually believe that? So I'm going to show you something really, really special here today of a cell, the main cells in the body that fight infections and viruses and yeasts and molds and bacteria and cancer are the T cells. And I'm going to show you a little clip now of the T cells going after cancer. And as I say, if you're here because you have cancer, this is wonderful, uplifting news for you to know that this is actually your defense mechanisms that can do it. So just watch this because it's really powerful. It might take a minute to load, sorry.